Hello, today we're going to look at expressing ratios. Ratios are comparisons of two or more things with the same units. So comparing people or types of candy, dollar amounts, anything where the units are the same. So let's assume we have the following. We're going to look at poker chips. So we have 30 red ones, 9 blue ones, and 11 white ones. We're going to look at ratios of these guys, and they can be expressed in 3 different ways. The first is using the word to. So we have something like the ratio of red poker chips to blue poker chips is 20 to 9. So this means that for every 9 blue poker chips, we have 20 red poker chips. We could also use a colon. The ratio of blue poker chips to white poker chips to red poker chips, because again it can be 2 or more things, so in this case 3 things, would be 9 colon 11 colon 20. And you'd read it as 9 to 11 to 20. So even though it's a colon, we use the word to when we're reading that out loud. And then if there's only 2 things, we can use a fraction. So the ratio of red poker chips to total poker chips is 20 over 40. So there are 40 poker chips in total. 20 of them are red, so 20 over 40. But we know, hopefully, that 20 over 40 is the same as 1 over 2. So this says for every 2 poker chips we have, 1 of them is red. Now, just like you should always simplify fractions, you should always simplify ratios, even if they're not written in fractional form. So if we had the phrasing 20 to 40 with the word 2 or with the word colon, we would still simplify that to 1 to 2. So let's assume we have the following M&Ms. 15 red, 20 blue, 30 green, and 10 yellow. Find the following ratios in simplest form. So I'm going to do the ratio of red to green using a colon. So before any simplifying, we have 15 red and 30 green. So it's 15 to 30, but we can simplify that. So 15 over 30 as a fraction becomes 1 over 2. So the true ratio would be 1 to 2. For every 2 green M&Ms, we have 1 red. How about green to blue to yellow using the word to? So before simplifying, there are 30 green, 20 blue, and 10 yellow. So that'd be 30 to 20 to 10. But we need to simplify that. So each of those 3 numbers, we can get rid of a 10. So it becomes the ratio of 3 to 2 to 1. And then we can do red to total M&Ms using a fraction. So we need to find out how many total M&Ms there are, and there are 75. So before simplifying, we have the 15 red to 75 total. And then after simplifying that, we can get rid of a 15 on both of them. So it becomes 1 to 5. So let's assume we have the following number of students with the given majors. So we have 100 engineering students, 150 mathematicians, 125 nurses, and 200 business majors. Find the following ratios in simplest form. So engineers to mathematicians using a colon. So before any simplifying, we have 100 engineers to 150 mathematicians. We want to get rid of the common factor of 50 there, and that gives us a full simplified ratio of 2 to 3. For every 3 mathematics majors, we have 2 engineering majors. Business to nurses to total using the word to. So we need to find how many total students there are. So if we add up the engineers, mathematicians, nurses, and business majors, we get 575. So before any simplifying, we have the 200 business, 125 nurses, to 575 total students. And again, we can get rid of a common factor there, and it simplifies to 8 to 5 to 23. And then let's do mathematicians to nurses using a fraction. So again, we can only use a fraction if we're doing 2 of them, because a fraction with 3 would look a little wonky, right? And we always think of fractions as having a numerator and denominator, so only 2 for these guys. So before any simplifying, it's 150 mathematicians over 125 nurses. And if we simplify that, we get 6 over 5. So these were all questions of finding ratios. In the next couple questions, we're going to look at, here's a ratio, can we find some actual values? So the ratio of students to teachers to staff at a certain university is 10 to 1 to 2. So there are 10 students to every 1 teacher to 2 staff members. So answer the following. If there are 50 students, how many teachers are there? So we want to look at the part of the ratio dealing with students and teachers. So that is the 10 to 1 part. And then we want to rewrite that as if the 10 were 50. So we want to go from 10 to 1 to 50 to what? So we just have to use some basic math here. These problems won't be difficult math-wise. So to go from 10 to 50, I want to multiply by 5. So we're going to do the same thing here and multiply 1 by 5. So we get 50 to 5. So notice that's the same ratio. So that means that there are 5 teachers. If there are 20 staff members, how many teachers are there? So staff and teachers is 1 to 2. So I want to change the 2, the staff, to 20. So if I go from 2 to 20, I multiply by 10. I want to do the same thing to the 1. So 1 to 2 is equivalent to 10 to 20. So there are 10 teachers. And then lastly, if there are 15 teachers, how many students and how many staff members are there? So we start with our original ratio, and then the one in the middle is the teachers. So I want that to become 15. So I need to multiply 1 by 15, so I'm going to multiply all 3 of them by 15. And that gives us 150 to 15 to 30. So that means there's 150 students and 30 staff members. And now for our last problem. Suppose we have 6 red cards and 12 black cards. Find the ratios in fractional form. So find the ratio of red cards to total cards. So there are 6 red cards, and there are 6 plus 12 total cards. So we have 6 over 6 plus 12, which is 6 over 18, which simplifies to 1 to 3. So again, what that means is for every 3 cards we have, 1 of them is red. Find the ratio of black cards to total cards. So there are 12 black cards, there are 18 total cards. So that gives us 2 to 3. So for every 3 cards we have, 2 of them are black. And hopefully those 2 make sense. Cards are either red or black in this case. So the 2 ratios, when I add them together, should give me 1. And then find the ratio of black cards to red cards. So there are 12 black cards, 6 red cards. Now as a fraction, if we simplified this, we would get 2. However, as a ratio, we do need 2 numbers. So we need to keep it as 2 over 1. This is probably the only time you'll see a mathematician tell you to leave 2 over 1. Okay, so again, as a number, it would be 2, but a ratio, we need both of those numbers. So we need 2 to 1. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Make sure you do have, like I said, the 2 numbers that you're comparing. So let me know if you have any questions, and goodbye.